Welcome to A Chat with Heart podcast. I'm your host, Christina Martin. I'm here to guide us on this journey of heartfelt and uncensored conversations with friends I've met while touring my music in Europe and across North America, and people who have life experience that I genuinely believe we can all learn from. Our personal stories have great power to heal, influence, and inspire. All we have to do is show up for the conversation. If we just talk about it, we could shine a light, we could break a dark day. If we just talk about it, we can cut away, we can make a brighter day. I love planning so much that I'm someone who has thought about preparing for the end of my life, mostly because I don't want the people who will have to deal with my death. I don't want them to have the added stress of, finding paperwork and figuring out who gets what. I just want to make it easy for everyone. I'm 100% healthy as far as I know right now, so I don't want you, my little heartbeat listeners, to worry. But as I mentioned in this episode, I do have a living will, and things are all planned out for myself and Dale if anything happens to us. And it felt great putting our affairs in order. For the last decade, we were on the road touring our music constantly, so it was really important, if anything happened to us in transit, that things would be taken care of. Why would I care about this as a healthy middle-aged woman? I have friends that were younger than me die. I watched my father die when I was 19 years old. My brother Stefan died in 2013. He was just 41 years old. And I offered to manage the details of, what to do with his body and then how to memorialize him. So I recognize that, this responsibility is part of life. And personally, I've decided that it's my responsibility, a nice gesture to the ones I love, to make the process of my death as smooth as possible. Quick story. So my brother Stefan lived at St. Clair's Housing in Toronto. And after he died, we decided to host a barbecue and afternoon party to honor him and connect with some of his friends who he meant a lot to. And I know they meant a lot to him. So since Stefan was a lover of animals and he had cats, we collected donations to put towards a beautifully framed photograph of his cat that his friend Avi took a photo of. So we found a company to install a locked frame of the cat photo. This was to prevent theft in the common room of the St. Clair's Housing. Well, it wasn't 1 week before one of the residents ripped the frame picture of Stefan's cat off the wall because he reported that the cat's eyes were bothering him. The moral of this little story is that although it is great to plan things out, you really can't control how every little detail will work out. And sometimes you just gotta roll with it and try to have a laugh about some of it. My brother Stefan would have loved that story. My little heartbeat listeners, you are in for a treat today. Karen Belyea and I met at St. Mary's University on C4 Vanier freshman year, and we've kept in touch all these years. Karen helps people navigate one of the most important and often challenging transitions of life. Are you ready for this?
I think.
Yeah.
I know death, so we'll see what I can say.
I know you know death, and I'm so excited because I don't think we've really, when you first were getting into this field, we would chat about things, but it's been such a long time since we've really had one-on-one, and so I'm really excited about it because you're someone who I've always loved and admired, and you were the first person I called after finding out that my brother had died and why that was so important to me at the time. You don't realize these things, but just had no
Yeah.
idea what to do with the body.
What to do? I
And
mean, you're not even in the same province, and it's just,
yeah,
it's hard.
yeah.
So
So, Karen, tell me if I'm getting this explanation correct. Funeral directors coordinate and arrange all aspects of funeral services, and then embalmers prepare the remains of those who have died for public visitation and burial.
burial, burial. There you
Burial.
go.
Is that a Canadian pronunciation? Burial?
We just say burial. That's it.
Burial. Embalmers prepare the remains of those who have died for public visitation and burial. Funeral directors and embalmers work together at the funeral home. Okay. And I know there's more people involved, but is that fairly accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know you're the managing director at Brenan's funeral home, but are you a funeral director?
Okay. So I have 2 licenses. So in New Brunswick, I live in New Brunswick. So in New Brunswick, in order to become a funeral director, you need to be an embalmer first. So actually, I lied to you. I said I have 2 licenses. Nova Scotia, it's 2 licenses. New Brunswick, it's 1 license.
Okay.
So I'm an embalmer first. And then if you pass that practical exam in front of a board member,
Yep.
okay, you become a funeral director.
In front of a board member?
So there's a board, New Brunswick Embalmers Association board. And what happens, when I'm ready, when I've had enough practice and cases to prepare, we call one of the board members down.
Yep.
And he or she watches you do a complete embalming. And then if you're successful, you've got your license. But it's a lot of preparation to get to that point, like, having to embalm 50 or so bodies, the schooling involved. So there's a few years involved to get to that point.
Before we get into that process, which my listeners will want to know, and there might be some people who are interested in taking this path, how did it start for you? Because the last memory I had before you started this was you were wanting to get into education, teaching.
Yes. To be honest with you, everyone asked me that question. And when I was at St. Mary's University trying to take some of the science courses and math courses, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be hard. My mind doesn't think that way. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get into education. So I remember my parents driving me to St. Mary's, like year one, day one, and we drove by the Nova Scotia Community College where the mortuary course is offered. And I thought to myself, if this doesn't work, this is like a backup plan. So anyways, I graduated from St. Mary's, that, and then went overseas to teach. Loved it. Wonderful experience. And then I came back and I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I kind of wanted to do it at first because I know it would get a rise on my parents. Like I want to kind of like freak them out a little bit.
Nice.
And then once I got into it, it's such an awesome way to help people. It's so rewarding. And it's just, you are dealing with people at their most sensitive time. Yeah. Right. And it's wonderful. It's an awesome to be able to help them. So, yeah. So this is where I've been in the funeral industry ever since.
Okay. Tell us more about the process then. What did you need to get into, the first level? Okay. So when I first applied, of course, they want your transcripts and all that stuff. And then I had to do some observation time at a funeral home. And I think I stayed with you in Halifax during some of that observation time. Yeah. So the observation time, I think it was like 40 hours or so many cases, I guess. And your mentor at the time would kind of grade you on that, your participation and your interest and everything in what they were showing you. And then you're accepted into school once you complete that. First semester, first year, it's been a while, Christina. I think was basically like foundation courses. Yeah. Funeral rites, learning how different religious people, like if you're Catholic, there's different things that Catholic families would do, Jewish, those types of things. Yep. Starting to learn about the embalming theory, the theory behind it. The second year, it's just kind of more intense, building on the foundation year a little bit more.
some actual seeing embalming was introduced with the local funeral home near their school.
Okay.
Then you graduate
Mhm.
if you complete everything successfully, and then you have to find a job.
Was that hard at the time for you?
No, well, me and one of my friends from the college, we actually took a trip to New Brunswick, passed out some resumes, and was called from Bernan's for an interview. So I was brought over from Nova Scotia to New Brunswick for the weekend,
Mhm.
and just to see how I would fit in. And yeah, and then I was offered the job.
That was like you are at the same place.
Well, when I first started,
Yeah.
I was at Bernan's, where I
Okay.
am now, covering someone's sick leave.
I'm glad
Okay.
you said Brennan's because I thought it was Brennan's.
Everyone does it. Even
Eh,
locals call it
Brennan's. Yeah.
Brennan's. So I was an apprentice. And then when the lady came back off sick leave, my contract was to go to another, it's a more country funeral home.
Country. Yeah. Like a rural one.
Yeah. And then that country funeral home kind of purchased or was involved with another funeral home in the valley where I
Okay.
live now in Quispamsis.
Mm-hmm.
So I was asked to kind of be stationed there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when a shift head or shift leader position came available in town at Bernan's in St. John, I applied for it and got the job.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it's about 5 years ago, I became manager, the first female manager of Bernan's Funeral Homes.
Amazing.
So
Congrats.
thanks.
What's your typical day look like
Okay.
now?
So we start our day with a staff meeting. We have a big staff, probably 10, 11 directors. Okay. We start the day with a staff meeting every day, except for weekends. And during the staff meeting, we decide who's going to do what task. So I oversee that. Then it's lots of emails. I'm meeting families. I still meet
Mhm.
with lots of families because I really love that.
Yeah.
Okay. I handle complaints, problems, do scheduling, payroll, all that stuff. I'm not really in the embalming room. I mean, I'm trained to do it, but I just have other things that take priority.
You're
So,
busy. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I spend 90% of my time doing paperwork and answering emails and
Mhm.
10% being musician. So,
Yeah. And
um,
that's fine. Like, I think I really enjoy being with meeting the families.
yeah.
So that's what's important, I think, right now for me.
Will you be so great at it? You were with
Thank
me.
you. Well,
Um,
it was shocking to hear, hear that call from you, get that call from you, right, about your brother. So it's sad, that's for sure. So,
yeah, it's a little, it's definitely a shock, even though, I think you probably worked with families who maybe had the expectation that this might happen to their loved one, but
yeah.
when it happens and, depending on the circumstances, you can't really fully prepare yourself
No,
for.
exactly. I mean, lots of families come in and um, they kind of give us a little heads up. Like they might call and say, mom's low,
Yeah.
which in our industry would probably mean like mom's on in her final journey, right, on
Yeah.
earth with us. And I want to give you a heads up. I want to have everything prepared. So when mom dies, they're still in huge shock, but a little bit relieved in a way that they kind of made some plans ahead of time.
Yeah, I've been plotting out my own preparations and death since I was about 19, 20. I think it's
Really?
really
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
well,
Okay.
once you okay, it's I'm an over planner, Karen.
Yeah.
Uh for sure. Dale and I have our living wills. We're actually refreshing
Oh,
them coming up
that's
here.
that's good though. That's important.
Yeah, and you and I are going to have, stick around, listeners. We're going to learn a little bit more why it's important, and a great idea to talk about, end of life planning things while you're still able to, and because it brings peace of mind. And actually, on that note, you could talk a little bit about what other things it brings, like not only peace of mind, but why else is it a good idea to have, these plans
Yeah.
in place.
Okay. Well, I mean, besides peace of mind, I would think that the individual would be comforted that their wishes would be followed through and they would have an opportunity while they're still living to kind of talk to their loved ones about how to make their service unique to them, like special to them, right? Because I see funerals every day, and sometimes it's very obvious to tell that the person conducting the service has no clue who the dead person was. You want to make it as personal as you can, right? And I tell families all the time, we can do whatever you want. You want to bring a motorcycle in the chapel? We can do it. We just have to lay a little carpet down underneath. We don't want any oil, but you know what I mean? Like, we can do it. We've done it.
I want to talk more about that because I read on the company's website, while we must comply with legal, regulatory, and professional standards, beyond that, our only goal is to provide each family with as much or as little as they need to deal with their loss and begin their healing journey. So my question is, Karen, what aren't you willing to do? Or maybe you could speak to, like, what are some of the most outrageous things that you have been able to do?
Okay. Well, the motorcycles is a popular thing.
Really?
We've brought motorcycles into parlors for visitation. We've brought them into our chapel. We do let pets if you have dogs.
Yeah.
Right. I remember at one time I was burying a lady who owned a dog grooming business, and she wanted to bring her dog, some of the dogs in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, that's her. So I remember I got the family seated in their seats in the chapel, and there's like 3 or 4 little dogs laying right in front of, like, I think she was cremation, so the little urn table. It was precious, right? Like, that was her. Why not? We have had in our parking lot, we've had 18-wheelers lead processions to cemeteries if the guy was a truck driver. Taxi drivers, when they pass away, often there's a big turnout of taxi drivers to show support. I've had families rip apart the parlors to put banners up or balloons, whatever, I did bury a child a few years ago, and I learned from his parents some of his favorite things. So, going out to Party City and purchasing balloons and like everything, just to kind of make it look like a child's bedroom.
Yeah.
Right. We even put child's sheets in the casket, because a casket, you don't expect to see a child in a casket. And when you have to see one, you want to make it look, a little bit more child friendly, I guess. So we'll do anything, really. The only thing, we have a lot of families request, like, rip and roaring liquor parties and stuff.
I was going to ask, can you do an open bar?
At this point, no, but we are in the works, to get our liquor license. We can do toast. I don't mind if families bring in champagne or whatever and do a toast or wine or.
You hear that, Nine Little Heartbeat listeners? There's room for an open bar soon at Brenan's.
Well, we hope. There's lots of things we're going to do until, before we get to that point. So,
can you think of a good day versus a bad day in the funeral business?
Okay, I think probably a good day is when, from a manager's point of view, so when everyone has a task to do, right? Like, a good day is usually like a busy day because everyone's on and no one has time to kind of just sit idle. Like, everyone's doing something. Bad days are always when there's a child involved, right? Or some type of accident or something like that.
Oh, that would be hard.
Yeah.
What is the oddest thing that you've experienced in your work?
Probably, I don't know, Christina, a real answer, I guess, but I would probably say I've met some very unique families, and every family has its own dynamics.
Yeah.
And you pretty much see everything, right? I've excused myself from arrangements. If the family's fighting, I'll just get up and say, okay, I'm gonna give you a few minutes. I'll be back, and just kind of let them hash it out. So probably dynamics.
Family dynamics would be a challenge, and that there would be some odd circumstances in there.
Every family's different, right? I mean, you have the legal wife sometimes, and then you have the common law or the girlfriend. You might even have another legal wife somewhere else in the country. So, I mean, there's
So
lots of different, there's lots of different situations, right?
have you ever lost your shit on a family? Or, I mean, I imagine there must be circumstances where the person who has died has left their wishes and the family is like, yeah, we're not doing any of that.
So if the person's left their wishes and the family come in and say, we want to change something, I mean, they have the power to do that. But I always try to be like, well, these are her wishes,
Yeah,
but really it's not up to me. We kind of take our direction from the person in charge, which would be the executor or the next of kin, right? So
that's very big of you. I'd be like, you're an asshole.
I can't, I can't, I
This
can't.
person
Sometimes you want to say that, but you can't. Like, you just have to work with them.
in our will, if I guess if we're both to die at the same time, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not, because sometimes giving people the option to choose can cause a lot of stress, and so
Yeah.
it's easier to just choose for them. But we drew the line at we were like, we don't want anything like a memorial or anything, but we'll leave it up to the people who are to our loved ones to decide how they want to
Yeah,
celebrate
because
or not celebrate.
exactly. Because no, that's good, Christina, because at that point you and Dale have passed, right?
Yeah.
And your loved ones are the ones that need to figure out what they need, like what type of closure they need, right? So
Yeah.
some families think they need to have a celebration of life or a funeral service to get closure. So it's nice that you've left, your loved ones that chance to decide what they need to help them get through it.
I think this stuff is important, and if you're not curious about it, I think it warrants developing a curiosity and also getting your shit in order. And one of the biggest reasons for that I can think of is just that it can really cause strife for families, siblings, not extended family, when you just don't have anything in order, any plans. You
Exactly.
know,
So those types of things are really important to kind of get in place. I don't have those things in place, but
Karen,
I,
what
I
the
will
fuck?
have, I will
After
have
this,
those things
after
in.
this chat, you're gonna.
Yeah.
But don't worry, because we're gonna have the talk of a lifetime here,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then people get just
Okay.
if something happens to you, I'll just direct everybody. I'll take over,
Okay.
and
I'll leave you in charge.
because Dave will be a wreck, so I'll just.
Exactly. He'll be in deep
Uh,
grief.
I love having a plan, knowing it's there, and then forgetting about it, and then I feel like when you make plans for something like this, it leaves more room and to live your life. Personally, that's how I feel. And interesting. I always felt it was my responsibility to plan for this kind of stuff. Like,
Mhm.
and that's not something that we're taught. We're always
Exactly.
taught, don't you don't have to worry about that right now. Or, that's so morbid. Why are we talking about it? But I really do believe it is a responsibility. And perhaps that idea or belief for myself came from watching my father
Mhm.
slowly deteriorate, actually quickly, and not really having a plan, and having siblings, extended family, and being young
Exactly.
and having that really, it did feel very much like a burden. So I wouldn't want anyone else to feel that way.
It's really important. And I mean, as I said, I don't have mine written down, but
Sure,
I
you
just
get to
don't think
talk about it.
I'm ever going to die, Christina, right? That's why I don't
No,
have to worry about it. But
exactly. I heard from someone, but I don't, that if you are the executor of somebody's estate or will, that you actually are, you would get a percentage of, or does that have to be stipulated in?
yeah, I think it's like I'm the executor of my grandmother's will, and I think it's like a 2 or 3% that the executor would receive.
Oh, wow. I bumped it up to 10%. That's how greedy I
Maybe
am.
it's changed. I don't know what the common is, but I think in her will it's like 2 or 3%.
Well, there you go, everybody. Um,
I no, don't quote me. Don't quote me on any of this. This is just
yeah,
from
don't
my
don't quote
experience.
Karen and don't quote me, but there might be money in it if you want to get into the business of
But
executing people's wills.
but in saying that, don't accept to be executors of someone's will that, if there's a whole bunch of like debt and things like that that's complicated, you might want to shy away from that. Because
That's right. You
it
want to
really
look
is
at
a full-time job. It's a huge job to settle someone's estate. So
Yeah. Unless you are settling my estate because it's already organized. So
Well, exactly.
that's one lucky person.
Oh my gosh, this is
I'm not trying to find we have executors.
good.
It's all good. I just want them to know it's going to be
Yeah,
so much fun. And
awesome.
I've left some surprises for you in my little gray box.
They're going to be lucky people.
It's time for a Fluster break. I want to thank those of you listening who have purchased the game Fluster online at www.flustergame.com and used my promo code to save 15%. The promo code is Christina15. Yeah, I really hope you're enjoying the game with your friends at home. And I hope that you are enjoying these Fluster conversation breaks with my guests. Karen, what do you think is your worst quality?
Being obsessive.
Oh yeah, like
Detail.
with your work or with like everything?
Probably work.
At home, you're able to kind of let that obsessive
Yeah,
nature go. Yeah,
a little bit, right? But I still like to be in control. So maybe I'm too controlling sometimes.
I'm with you. I think we can relate on that. I love.
Yeah.
I remember Oprah saying, "Love is in the details,"
Mhm.
and so I kind of when I think about being into the details, which I am,
Yeah.
and I like things to be done right and on time, and I like to be organized. I think, well, it's about love and wanting to do a good job, and I
Mhm.
think it oftentimes yes, there's a line that it can be a little overly maybe obsessive sometimes, but you know,
I'm working on it.
working on letting go.
Letting go and like maybe letting other people take on some of the responsibilities that I have, right?
That's a tough one.
Yeah. I think that's an answer.
That's a great answer. One of my worst qualities is um I'm pretty good at like coming around to being compassionate
Mhm.
compassionate and understanding about a situation,
Uh-huh.
but I do have that habit of first kind of going into like in my mind and my body feeling this like rage
Okay.
or just like disappointment, and like it becomes this crisis, but it's all internalized, and I'm getting better at not either letting that be this huge humongous thing, but
Mhm.
carrying that around and then skipping that step.
Just get rid of that altogether. It carries a heavy burden on your shoulders. You don't need it.
Yeah, it's like what's the point of that? I've
Yeah.
learned that it's kind of a fight or flight response that I developed at a young age, and that without being aware of it all these years, then you have to unlearn it, and it's been
Mhm.
with you for decades. And so, but I've I feel more steady emotionally and healthier overall because I don't have all those
Yeah.
rush of chemicals taking over my
Mhm.
life.
Mhm.
All right, here's another one. What is the most unusual thing you've ever eaten?
I would probably have to say broth in Korea when I lived there that was made from dog broth.
Oh wow!
That's
When you
probably the most unusual thing. I said to the lady we were having dinner with, I'm like, oh, this is like, what kind of soup is this? Like, it's really intense. And she's like, well, that's like a dog broth soup. I'm like, it's a delicacy, I guess, for certain times of the year over there.
okay,
And yeah, so that's probably the most unusual thing.
when you say intense, did you enjoy the
Just like
broth?
well, it was like a just like beefy type of flavor. There
Yeah,
wasn't any, I don't think there was any dog meat in there, but it was like the broth
the meat they were saving for the next
for, I don't know what they were
serving,
saying.
the next meal.
Yeah. What about you?
I think it would have been, I want to say like something blood was in the title, and this was in Poland, and I didn't have a lot of it, but I just know
Uh-huh.
blood was in the title,
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't know what kind of blood.
I'm just starting to think like life is getting shorter because I'm getting older. So I really need to take advantage of the moments. Like I don't really want to waste time, you know?
Well,
So
yeah,
that's hard though sometimes to do, but
of course, especially when you are busy with work and you
yeah.
have responsibilities. And a couple years ago, our friend Shannon
Mhm.
passed away, and Shannon had a bucket list,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I mean, I think that was big inspiration for a lot of people to he talked about just doing that because life
Yeah.
can be short and you never do
Yeah.
know. And I know you were so close. And didn't Shannon, what's the term when you can marry two people? Didn't he marry you and Dave?
No, so
Oh,
he didn't marry us, but he was our witness, one
he
of the
was your wit.
witnesses.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. And so Dave proposed, and about a year later, we still don't really have an idea. Weddings are so damn expensive,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah, just
And
like funerals sometimes,
so
right?
so and so much planning, and it's just like they're not really. I just want it to be something different and personal. So it was important for Shannon to be there. So I brought this idea up with Dave. Why don't we just see if Shannon will be up to, helping us out? So Melissa, I talked to Melissa first, and she was like crying, whatever, and Shannon was all about it.
Yeah.
So when we arrived to their house, our wedding day, it was in the evening because we got married around 6:30. Um, Shannon, God bless him, he was in his tux. Like he was decked out in his tux. Okay. We got married in December too. So he was very ill at this time because he
Yeah.
passed, I think what was the end of January or
January. Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So he was very ill, but Melissa said he had rested up all week so that he could get into the tux. And he took us out to dinner afterwards. It was amazing. It was an amazing night. And yeah, yeah. And we didn't have to have, like, Melissa's like, Karen, do you want like music in the background? Do we want this? I'm like, no. I said, we just want you and Shannon, and Dave will be there, of course. And then our justice of the peace. And that's all we need. So
Incredible.
yeah,
Incredible. I think there was a police involvement along the way.
yeah.
Can you tell
So
us more about that?
so we're running late, of course. From St. John to Halifax is probably 3.5, 4 hour drive. So we're running late. So we are just on the outskirts of Halifax, getting ready to go to the hotel and check in. And Dave's speeding. Police stop us. So Dave's like, yeah, I know I'm speeding. And the police officer's like, well, why? Why are you speeding? Well, I'm getting married. We're going to be late. So obviously the police officer's like, yeah, these people are fucked. Like they don't like. So anyways, I'm like, well, the wedding cake's in back of this car if you want to take a bill. And he goes, well, where are you getting married, ma'am? I'm like, well, we're going to Cole Harbor. Our good friends will be at their home because one is terminally ill. And the officer's like, well, would this be the Shannon Churchill from Cole Harbor that's got cancer? I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh.
So we got away with no speeding ticket because Shannon was involved. And when I got there, I'm like, Shannon, I felt so bad for playing the cancer card, but I had to. And he
Hey,
loved it. He
I
loved it.
think it's great. I think
Yeah.
it's great.
And
And
I think the police officer knew about Shannon's illness because I think that day in the Chronicle Herald,
mhm,
Shannon had an article published about his bucket list.
yeah,
So
he had
yeah,
already he really became a local celebrity.
exactly,
And
exactly.
and then his obituary went viral after that.
Well, I remember visiting Shannon and Melissa. I think the weekend we went to the movies. Do you remember the weekend we went to the Grand Canyon movie?
Oh yes, so of course I remember that because I'm responsible for what happened to Shannon at the
Yes,
Grand
with the
Canyon movie.
marijuana. Yes,
We
yeah.
now if you want now my little heartbeat listeners, you can hear the episode with Melissa. I think it's episode 8 of A Chat with Heart, and we elaborate on the incident with Shannon and the marijuana oil, and
Mhm.
it's all my fault. But yes, I remember that weekend.
It is because I remember sitting in the living room and we're talking, and Shannon's talking about, I don't know, I think we were talking about like how Melissa was going to share a eulogy and they were going to work on it together, and how he wanted maybe Ring of Fire to be played because he was cremated, and how we laughed and said, I don't know if that's appropriate, but really anything goes. And I remember Melissa putting a little bit of oil on a cracker. I remember her in the kitchen being like, well, I don't know how much, like, I don't know what to do with this. So she put a little drop, or maybe a little bit more than a little drop, on this cracker. He ate it. And I remember the next morning, Melissa's like, Karen, get in here. Shannon's like Shannon is still high. I'm like, oh my, like, how is he going to do this? So we got him situated, but my gosh, he was,
When I first saw him in the parking lot and you were both holding him up. And I know he was far along in his illness at that time, but
Yeah,
he still wasn't, he
yeah,
wasn't that far along. Like
yeah.
I'd seen him like a week before and didn't need people to hold him up. And
Well, that would have alarmed a lot of people, like, oh my God, what happened to him in these short period of days?
I think
But
it
it was
did.
because he
Yeah.
was high.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
was my fault. It was all like the intention was good,
Yeah, you're trying to help, but I just think a little bit too much oil was put on that cracker.
yeah, let's blame it on Melissa.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh my God.
But he
Uh,
laughed. He thought it was awesome.
So I was on the website, the Brenan
Yes.
website, and you've got a bunch of services. Uh,
Yes.
okay, I saw on there that you offer green options. What does that mean? Because we're all trying to be more conscientious about the
Yeah.
environment,
Yeah.
and
So with our green options, this is becoming very popular in the funeral industry now. We have a lot of calls about when I die, like I don't want to leave a huge footprint of badness that I did with the environment, right? So
Mhm.
so we offer merchandise, first of all, that is all environmentally friendly. For example, we offer caskets that are made with no harsh chemicals, no metal, no rubber, everything environmentally friendly on the casket.
They sound completely breakable. They sound
But they're not, and they're
okay.
actually quite nice. Like they're
Yeah,
really, I kind of like them.
yeah,
So no harsh chemicals, no metal, none of that stuff.
nice.
Um, we offer, there's stationery that can
Mhm.
be environmentally friendly as well. Guest books, for example. We offer these little, I call them postcards. And so what the artist has done is she's made these postcards out of all environmentally friendly inks and paper. And what you do is maybe at the anniversary of of your loved one's death, you would go visit the grave and maybe leave a note. And as soon as it touches water, it breaks down, all environmentally safe,
Nice.
and no one can read the note because it's all broken down with the water. So there's
Yeah.
lots of options that way. With urns, we offer urns that are made again with no metals, no harsh chemicals, very natural, and will break down.
Cardboard box.
No, not cardboard boxes. We have got bamboo, and
Oh,
different types
nice.
of materials.
Yep.
Um, and we also offer these urns that if you were to take some of your loved one's ashes and put in the urn, it will grow a tree.
Ooh, I want
So
that
there's
one.
there's some options there. We don't have green sections in cemeteries here yet, but I'm sure that will come,
I hope
right?
so. What would that look like? A green section? Would that be like a tree, like instead of like a cremate?
Yeah, it could be. Usually people that are worried about the environment, there wouldn't really be any type of embalming
Mm-hmm.
happening because of the chemicals, although they have come out with some environmentally friendly chemicals now. Everything would be natural, right? We would just kind of probably shroud their body, place the body in an environmentally friendly casket, and just have the burial.
Super simple.
So that's becoming very popular. We do not have any, I think they're called body farms.
What is that?
No, I think there's one in Quebec, Christina, where you die and they take you to this land, and that's where you naturally just die, like
Decompose?
you just
Like,
decompose. Yeah. So I mean,
wow.
that's something too that I've read about.
Okay. That
Yeah.
sounds like someone just bought a plot of land and they're like, hey, dump
No,
the body over here.
I think it's like all regulated, and it would
Okay.
have to be, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm not exactly sure how they do it, but those types of things are happening too.
I hope it's regulated. I hope there's some nice shrubbery
Yeah, I'm
surrounding
not
that
sure how it
property.
would work. It's kind of interesting to me too, but I mean, there's lots of different things out there.
Sounds
So
like a mass grave situation, but like if it's,
yeah,
if the person wants that, then that's fine.
yeah.
I'd consider that.
And then
Uh,
you have people, which probably isn't environmentally friendly, but there's people that want to be frozen.
that's possible.
Yeah, Walt Disney, he's
Like
frozen.
if someone have you ever come across that situation where you've helped somebody?
Yes, yes, actually, it was new for all of us at the funeral home. So it their loved ones' wishes, and we were able to make it happen for them. So
They just froze the dead body
with dry ice,
before they
okay,
died or after they died.
right after, but there is a time sensitivity period for that. So, yeah, so we were able to do that for them.
I'm all for like, hey, once it's over for me, we don't want any ongoing fees or expenses. I don't
Mhm.
want anyone to have to do monthly payment for storing my body anywhere or pay it all.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, we just do our best. Like that was a learning experience for us because we had never done that. So
That's so
we figured it
fascinating.
out. Yeah.
Okay, so you're witnessing grief more than your average person. How has grief changed for you in your understanding of it over the years?
Probably the stages. I can really see the stages of grief.
Yeah.
I can see some people, they come to me and they're angry. There's some people that come and they're in shock, right? So there's different stages of it. And I find that I can better figure out what stage the people are in. If someone is yelling at me, I have to remember they're not yelling at me. They're angry. That's the part of grief that they're in. And they're
Mhm.
angry about the whole situation, not necessarily something I did or didn't do. So I'm a little bit better with determining, what stage, and just more patient, I guess.
Let's have the talk of a lifetime now. You and me, Karen. You ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you can actually find the talk of a lifetime on the Brenan website if anybody's curious and wants to get started with having these conversations for yourself or with a loved one. There's a PDF. And maybe you could just explain briefly what is the talk of a lifetime?
So talk of a lifetime is something we're involved in. It's just basically to get people thinking about how they want to be remembered, I guess.
Mhm.
Right. So it's quite helpful. We've got a page of questions that kind of get people thinking about, oh, can I do that? Or,
Yeah.
oh, I didn't know they'd want to know if I did that. You know what I mean? Like Talk of a Lifetime wants to make it as personal as possible for people, encourage people to remember it in the way that they want to be remembered. So
Great. We're going to get
yeah.
personal here.
Okay.
Okay, so things to consider when you have the talk of a lifetime and
Mhm.
you want to have this while you're still alive.
Yeah, you want to have this with someone special, your loved ones, when you're still alive and probably, healthy and whatever.
Even before they come to you. I mean,
Yeah,
they could have this after going to you, but it's even you're ahead of the game, step ahead if
exactly.
you come in and
Exactly. Just to kind of get you thinking about how you want to be remembered at the end of your life. So
yeah, let's have this program should be incorporated in at the kindergarten preschool level. Okay, here's one. Well, Karen, how do you want to be remembered? It says here, are you a lifelong volunteer? Did you serve in the armed forces? Are there hobbies that help define you as a person? How would you answer that?
I think I just want to be remembered as a kind person, someone who helped people, a lover of animals, lover of family, someone who led a good, simple life, really, nothing fancy.
Done. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
I just don't want to be remembered as an asshole. That's
I don't think anyone is going to remember you as an asshole,
some
Christina.
people might. There might be. I
No.
don't know who, they can call the heartbeat hotline and let me know who they are. And I'll try to make amends before I go. But I liked your answer. How would you like your loved ones to celebrate your life when you die, Karen?
Well, when I die, I might as well tell you what I want. I'm open to having my loved ones view me, but it's not going to be a public thing. And I do want to be cremated. So I would envision like a celebration somewhere outside of the funeral home, or if the funeral home has liquor, just like a party type of thing, right?
Yep.
With my ashes present, I guess.
You better pick your
So
music in advance because that's one thing you don't want to leave up to other people, Karen.
it's going to be you, Christina. You and Dale are going to sing.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Okay.
We'll see
Yeah.
who goes first, but the beauty of that is if I were to go before you, you've
Mhm.
got some recordings, you've got a couple albums that
Yes, exactly.
you
We
can
could
just play.
use.
You could run the music videos in the background. I could
Exactly.
even just I could pre-record this, Karen, at any time, a personal dedication
Yes.
Here I am selling myself. Anybody wanting me to sing at their funeral? I actually have a funeral song.
Yes, I know you do. And I want to use it because when we make
Yeah,
DVDs and things like that for families, like
yeah.
I'm waiting for an opportunity to use it if you let me.
I'll
I
give
know
you
there's
full.
copyright.
No, I know. I'll give you full permission. Just have to put it in an email.
Awesome.
And then if other funeral homes are listening to this, they'll have to pay a licensing fee, but not you, not Brenan's. Brenan's, but maybe
Thank you.
Brenan's could hook me up with one of those tree urns, in
Well,
exchange for we could
yeah,
do a barter.
we've got tree urns. Yes, we do.
Although we're gonna then Dale and I will have to change our end of life plans because we were planning on being our ashes being spread at the same time
Mhm.
or in the same place in the Northumberland Strait here. But I'm
Yeah.
really nervous about that. I'll tell you why, because I have a fear of sharks and open water. And the only reason I'm doing it is because I want my ashes to be with Dale's ashes.
And that's what he wants to do.
Yeah. And I'm cool
Okay.
with that. But what if I go first? He meets a new girl. He's a hot guy. Like it's definitely a possibility. And then she's like, I don't want you to I don't want your ashes to be in the Northumberland Strait with your ex-wife, Christina, your dead wife. And so then I'm all alone out there and this is like be a nightmare.
Well, why doesn't he just, if you go first, why doesn't he just keep your ashes until he goes? And the girlfriend or wife, new wife, is just going to have to, you might all be, four of you be scattered, three of you be scattered together.
Ugh, gross. But okay. Not up for a threesome. But
I,
but yeah, no, that's a good I like see, this is why I need you, Karen. This is why people need me. Because there's I can't always come to the conclusions myself, to the answers.
I don't know if that really solved your problem with him getting, he's just not going to remarry.
Of course that's what I would want, but then I want him to be happy. So
Mhm.
I can't really like put that out in the universe or tell him you're not allowed to get remarried. Poor guy, he would
So when
feel
he listens to this,
when he's editing
he's
this.
going to
Yeah.
be like, oh my gosh, what's going on here?
Don't worry, I've already talked to him. I've already told
Okay.
him about my fears, I think, in a previous episode. But this is
Okay.
a good solution. I hold on to the ashes, and then my
Mhm.
backup plan B, if you got to ditch me, let's get me in a green box with a tree that will
Mhm.
grow, and I don't care where you put it. Just put it somewhere where
Yeah.
it won't be bulldozed. Um, how come this one's on the talk of a lifetime? What
Which
is
one?
your favorite or least favorite color?
Okay, so that's probably on there as kind of to help with personalization, right? So, we make stationery, bulletins, guest books, those types of things. So if we know your favorite color, we might be able to kind of incorporate that somehow. We have some families that want their guests to arrive at the funeral wearing something of their favorite color. Like if
Ah,
pink was the favorite color, maybe they want guests to wear some pink when they arrive.
so you'll let everybody know?
We
That's
write it
cool.
in the obituary. Yeah. So I mean, it's a question just to kind of help to personalize the service for you.
I love it. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
total sense.
And then merchandise like urns, things like that can be certain colors.
Oh,
So
I would want mine to be matte black with like bedazzled with I don't know, some kind of fun organic substance. Some maybe some
we
rocks.
probably could do it for you.
Oh my
We
gosh.
we have a casket at the funeral home that it's it's all natural wood, and we encourage people that buy it. A selling point for a lot of people would be you can mark all over it.
Oh, cool.
So you can send your loved ones messages with them when they're buried by
That's
marking
cool.
on the casket. So we've had some families take advantage of that. It's another way to help personalize things.
Do you know what your theme song would be, Karen? If you wanted music played at your service?
Well, see, I told you before, like I don't, yeah, yes, your music. Yeah, I really don't know.
I don't
I
know
like it
yet
all.
either. I mean, I think
Like,
I'd probably choose something from like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers or Tina Turner,
yeah,
um, or maybe even David Bowie. But I don't know what. But it's something to think about.
yeah, I like Madonna too.
Oh
I
yeah,
really like Madonna, her old stuff. But yeah, I don't know what it would be.
like a prayer. Yeah, or like a
Like a
virgin.
virgin. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are all good questions because like you're asking me these questions and I'm like, well, I have to think and I don't know some of the answers.
Yeah, Karen, you're gonna have to take some time off work to then work
Mhm,
on this. Okay, so another question, or two more questions from the talk
mhm.
of a lifetime, which there are more questions, but
Yeah.
some of them were extremely personal and complicated, and
Okay.
there's financial questions and whatnot. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well, we don't need to get into that today, but
Mhm.
do you want a religious or non-religious ceremony? Because that's a really important question, I think.
When I talk about, I told you about having a party with my urn.
Hmm.
I like that idea. And most days I go like with that idea. But I don't know. I also like I believe in God.
Hmm.
So I also like the idea of being in a church in a way too. It could be like a combination. I could maybe have a celebrant do my service.
What is a celebrant?
Well, a celebrant, I'm a celebrant as well. I'm a funeral celebrant. So what that means is I took the training and I can conduct services for families
Oh,
that don't
lovely.
have a connection to a church.
That's me.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah. So I'm doing one actually next week for a family, and there was really no connection with the church. So what celebrants do is we meet with the family and talk about their loved one and how they want the service to go. Do you want to, do you want to light candles? I mean, I did a service once for a family with golf balls involved with it. We just make it as personal as we can, right?
I'm not going to ask what
And
what the
it
golf
was it
balls
was
were
it
doing.
was it had a nice message. And the
Okay.
family, the gentleman who passed was a golfer, and we just used golf balls to make some. Yeah, it was a nice message. It was, yeah, you had to be there.
Yeah.
Um,
Damn it. I missed it.
but I mean, and celebrants, I mean, we don't care what music you listen to. I've had families, well, recently, Tupac,
Hmm.
try to find a clean version of that. It's hard to
Oh,
find.
I thought he hired you. I
Oh
was like,
gosh.
that would
No,
be,
no, like we played Tupac, I've
yeah.
played Ozzy Osbourne, like it's whatever they want.
Yeah.
The celebrant is there to kind of guide them through it.
Fantastic. That sounds like a lot of fun. I could totally see you rocking that gig.
I enjoy doing it. Some families want me to mention God,
Yeah.
but not preachy. And some families don't want to mention any mention of God or religion at all.
So
So
you're flex. You do
yeah,
what they want you to do within the lines of the law.
exactly. Exactly.
Do you want to be buried or cremated? You said cremated.
I want to be cremated. I do not want to be buried. Ideally, I'd like my ashes to be with my loved ones, but
Hmm.
I know when they die, someone's going to have to do something with the ashes, right? So I'm kind of more, I don't want to be in the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking like a columbarium,
What is that?
which is a wall above ground with little compartments in it and
Okay.
with the urns in each compartment.
Hmm.
So that way I'm not in the ground.
Oh, I didn't even know that was an option.
Some places have like outdoor ones. Some cemeteries have indoor columbariums as well. So you can actually have the urn placed in the niche, which is the compartment, and then you can actually go back, visit the niche. There's usually chairs and things like that, and you can actually see the urn. Whereas
Wow.
on the outside columbarium, it would be like the granite, and you couldn't see in.
Yeah.
So I kind of take comfort in that idea. Yeah.
So let's remind people where they can find out more about Brenan's funeral
Mhm.
home. And certainly most everybody has a local establishment that they can reach out to. And I remember when I called you about my brother,
Mhm.
and you were out of province and directed me to a local funeral home, and they were so supportive. So I'm sure the community would even connecting me with places in Toronto, like that all
Exactly.
happened really quickly. Like it's a connected community.
Mhm.
A phone call away will help get you on the right track to getting the help that you need.
Exactly.
So there's your website, which is
Yes.
what is the website?
www.bernandsfh.com.
Great. And are you on social
Mhm.
media?
We are on Facebook as well.
I just had this, I know this isn't a thing, but Instagram account,
We don't have
the
Instagram, but we are
viewings,
on Facebook.
but like
Yeah,
just
so
That would be great if you had somebody managing your social media and they just like their job was to take behind the scenes photos of like preparation, the viewings and all that. But of course, that probably wouldn't go over well with a lot of
No, that would be
people.
frowned upon. Everything we do, it's, we're professionals, right? So everything has to be confidential, and what happens at the funeral home,
Stays at the
stays
funeral.
there, right? And we're not listing names and sharing all family names and all that.
Super
So,
pro. Yeah. This is why I don't work there because it's
oh,
a very
stop. You could work there. You could work
Oh,
there.
I probably would love it to be honest. I mean, not I don't think I could be involved in the embalming process
Mhm.
but I love planning and helping plan events and seeing people making people like feel at ease and that is really I think very very meaningful and that's a very attractive side of
We've had
definitely.
actually some families come in with someone who not a family member, but they're like kind of like a funeral support person with them. So
Really?
yeah, it's kind of interesting. They just kind of want to make sure every detail is taken care of.
Yep.
I mean, the things that we would normally do, but sometimes this person spends more time with the family and kind of helps them at home and things like that. So
That's really cool. Sort of like I guess a doula,
kind
midwife
of, yeah,
maybe.
yeah, yeah,
Well, I think that's a lovely idea as well.
yeah.
Well, there's so many ways to do it, but thank you, Karen, for
Well,
sharing more about.
I hope it wasn't boring.
No, oh no,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
no. This is really important. It's the farthest thing from boring. And selfishly, I had a great time and enjoyed it, and
And so did
and
I.
but I'm sure my little heartbeat listeners will appreciate it. And you know what? If I'm going to shout out to my listeners right now, if any of you have any questions, end of life questions for me, which I probably won't be able to answer, or Karen, I can relay those messages to Karen, and we can maybe answer some of them on the podcast in the future. So give us a call, and the Heartbeat Hotline is at the end of the podcast. So keep listening. And thank you so much, Karen. I miss seeing you in person. And
Oh my gosh, I miss you too. I haven't seen you in a while.
welcome to the Heartbeat Hotline, 1-902-669-4769. I'm the host of a Chat with Heart podcast, Christina Martin, and I'm so excited you called. Leave me your question, a suggestion for the podcast, or a comment about this episode. Please be aware your message may be used on the podcast and social media. Tell me your name, where you're calling from, and it's also fine if you want to remain anonymous. Thanks for listening. Have a great fucking day.
A question for you, Christina. I don't know a lot of the questions, so I had to Google it. And this one is, if you could live a day in the life of someone in the group, who would it be and why, or something like that. But since we're not in a group, can you tell me if you could live a day in someone in the whole world, who would it be and why?
That was my little heartbeat listener, France McClure. And France won the Fluster competition from episode 6 with Walker and Devin. She was the first to buy the game Fluster, use my promo code, and then call the Heartbeat Hotline and ask me a Fluster question. So congrats, France. I hope you find a good home for the gift of a second Fluster game that we're shipping your way. To answer your question, who would I like to live the day in the life of? Someone anywhere in the world, and why? I would love to spend the day in the shoes of Dolly Parton. Why? I just think she's incredible. Hardworking woman, cranking out the songs. She's had a long and healthy career. She's written movies, a book. She is a philanthropist and an incredible entertainer, performer, producer, business owner. The list goes on. So yeah, I would like to know what her day's like a working day, maybe 2 days. One of the days where she's working, and then what's her day like when she takes the day off. Very curious. A Chat with Heart, produced and written by me, Christina Martin, co-produced and engineered by Dale Murray. Check out Dale's website, dalemurray.ca. The podcast theme song, Talk About It, was written by me and recorded by Dale Murray. You can find it on all the places you stream music. Production plans for this podcast and Season 1 are supported by the Province of Nova Scotia's Women in Business Implementation Fund and the Creative Industries Fund. Special thanks to Terrence Taylor for mentoring me on hosting this podcast and really digging deep with me on my production plans for Season 1, which, let's be honest, Terrence, ended up being more like well-needed psychotherapy for me. To Crystal Seeberger at Sensory Friendly Solutions, thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me learn how to be a more inclusive, accessible, and sensory-friendly human. Visit my Patreon page to become a monthly or yearly supporter of this podcast and my music endeavors. If you're new to Patreon, it's a membership platform that helps creators get paid. Sign up at patreon.com/Christina Martin. For this to be a massive success and reach 7 billion people, I need you to share, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to A Chat with Heart on all the places you listen to podcasts. Wishing you, my little heartbeats, a great day.